Sometime in the next 24 hours, you are going to quit something, and you are going to have an excellent reason. It will not feel like quitting. It will feel like being sensible. That is the entire design. In 1943, on a beach in Fort Pierce, Florida, a man with terrible eyesight built a week that has broken most people who have ever attempted it. Roughly 3 out of 4 people who start it do not finish. It is still running. Same week, same ocean, other coast. And the thing it actually measures is not what you think it is. It starts with a brass bell. Coronado, California, Naval Special Warfare Center, Basic Underwater Demolition and SEAL Training. Everyone calls it BUDS. 6 months, 3 phases. The first one is the one everybody knows about. It has been running in some form since 1943. The water off Coronado sits in the 50s and low 60s most of the year. You are in it or wet from it for most of 6 months. Somewhere between 70 and 80% of every class does not make it to the end. Not fired, not injured out. Most of them walk away on purpose. So here's the question, and I want a real answer, because I am coming back to it. It is 3 in the morning. You have been awake for 2 days. You are wet, and you have been wet since Sunday. Nobody is holding you. Nobody will stop you. Nobody will call your family. No paperwork, no hearing. No one has to agree with you. There is a brass bell on a post about 40 feet away. Ring it 3 times and this ends. Hot coffee, dry clothes, immediately. You have to stand up and walk and use your hands. Do you walk over? The week you are standing in was invented by a man named Draper Kaufman. Thick round glasses, the kind you notice before you notice the face. He is not a large man. He is not a natural athlete. He is a man in glasses. Kaufman graduated from the United States Naval Academy in 1933, and the Navy refused to commission him. His eyesight was too poor. They handed him a diploma and no job. He spent the next few years working for a steamship line. So he went and found a war anyway. He drove ambulances in France in 1940, got captured by the German army, got released, and joined the British Royal Navy to defuse unexploded bombs. The United States Navy would not take him. Britain let him disarm live ordnance by hand. By 1943, the Navy wanted him back, and it wanted him to build something. That is the part nobody tells you about the hardest selection course in America. It was designed by someone the military had already thrown away, and the first person he ran through the week he designed was himself. Fort Pierce, Florida, summer of 1943. Kaufman needed men who could swim to a beach under fire, in the dark, and place explosives on obstacles designed to kill them. He had no way to test for that. Nobody had ever done it. So he built a test that had nothing to do with explosives. 1 week, almost no sleep, constant cold, constant wet, constant noise, and no way to be removed except by asking. They called it Hell Week, and the name stuck for 80 years. In December 1941, Kaufman, glasses and all, had defused an unexploded Japanese bomb on Oahu. He got the Navy Cross for it. He got a second one later. Here is the modern version, and the numbers are documented. 5.5 days, roughly 4 hours of sleep, total, not 4 hours a night, 4 hours. Candidates cover somewhere around 200 miles on foot in that week. Breakout starts at Sunday night. Machine gun blanks, artillery simulators, smoke, sirens, instructors shouting through megaphones. It is deliberately incoherent. There is nothing to orient to. Then the surf. Candidates lie down at the waterline, arms linked, and let the Pacific come over them. They call it surf immersion. Everyone else calls it surf torture. The medical staff pull people out on core temperature. That is the actual limit, and the majority of everyone who is ever going to quit quits in the first 2 days. Sleep deprivation is doing most of the work, and it does it in a specific way. After about 72 hours awake, people start hallucinating. Documented, routine, expected. Candidates report seeing things in the surf. Instructors log it and keep going. You are not making good decisions by Wednesday. You are making the decision you rehearsed on Monday, or the one you never rehearsed at all. And this is the design detail that makes the whole thing work. There is no failing grade in Hell Week. There is no score. There is no cutoff time that removes you. The instructors cannot quit you. Only you can. So the pressure has to be constant, and the exit has to be easy and warm and 40 feet away. The bell is not a punishment. It is an offer, and it never expires. It is repeated out loud all week. Quit now and the pain stops now. Every hour is a fresh vote. That is 132 hours of voting. When someone rings it, they put their helmet down in a line on the concrete. The line stays there. Everyone still standing walks past it all week. By Wednesday, the line is longer than the class. Now here's the part the Navy has spent decades being quietly embarrassed about. They cannot tell you who is going to pass. They have tried. Physical screening tests, interviews, psychological batteries, running times, swim times. The strongest man in the class is not the safe bet. Neither is the fastest swimmer. Instructors will tell you they can pick the quitters on day one, and then day one happens, and they are wrong. The one thing that has shown up repeatedly is unglamorous. Prior competitive water experience, swimming, water polo, not toughness, comfort, having been cold and out of breath in water before on purpose for years. There is a version of this you already believe, and it comes from a book. In 2015, Jesse Itzler published Living with a Seal about hiring David Goggins to live in his house for a month. That book is where the 40% rule comes from. The idea that when your mind says you are done, you are at 40%. It is a great line. It is not a study. There is no experiment behind it, and Goggins has never claimed there was. The real research is less quotable and more useful, and I want to tell you what the week was actually for, because the training gets talked about far more than the job. June 6, 1944, Omaha Beach. Kaufman's demolition units went in ahead of the landing, in daylight, to blow gaps in the obstacles. 175 of them went to Omaha. 31 were killed, 60 were wounded. 52% casualties in a single morning. The week did not make them safe. It was never going to make them safe. It only decided who would be standing on the ramp. So if the week does not predict skill and does not predict survival, what exactly is it measuring? For 50 years, the Navy's answer was basically a shrug. Character, heart. You know it when you see it. Then, in the early 2000s, somebody finally treated it as a research question. The man who changed it is a Navy psychologist named Eric Potteratt. Potteratt's job was head of psychology for Naval Special Warfare. He had access nobody outside had. Naval Special Warfare brought him in to answer the question the instructors could not who is strongest, who keeps going. So he did something obvious that nobody had done. He studied the graduates instead of the dropouts, and he found 4 things, and none of them are impressive. Goal segmentation, mental rehearsal, self-talk, breathing. That is it. That is the list. They call it the Big 4. Every one of those is something a middling high school athlete already knows the name of. The difference was not knowing them. It was running all 4 of them in water in the 50s at hour 90 with no sleep. But the men who quit were not thinking about how much pain they were in. They were doing arithmetic, counting the hours left. 4 days, 96 hours. Multiply by cold. The number was always survivable. They quit anyway. The ones who finished had shrunk the whole thing down to the next meal. Breakfast. That is the entire objective. Get to breakfast. It sounds like a motivational poster, and it is a load-bearing wall. Because a goal you cannot see is a goal you have to keep re-choosing, and re-choosing is where the bell gets you. Kaufman never had any of this. He had a beach, a bell, and a pair of glasses that fogged in the surf. Second one, mental rehearsal, and it is more literal than it sounds. Candidates are taught to run the bad version in advance. The mask floods, the knot slips, the instructor is on you. Rehearsed events do not produce the same spike. Your body has been there. Third, self-talk, and here's where the number is genuinely strange. Potteratt's framing is that you talk to yourself somewhere between 300 and 1,000 words per minute, silently, all day. You speak out loud at about 150, so there is a voice in your head running several times faster than the one in your mouth, and nobody ever taught you to aim it. Fourth is breathing, and it is the only one that is purely mechanical. 4 seconds in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. Box breathing. It does not calm you down because it is soothing. It slows your heart rate directly. You have used all 4 of these badly, today, without naming any of them. The Navy reported that after the mental training program went in, the pass rate rose by roughly 10 percentage points, which is the most quietly insane sentence in this video. 1 in 10 additional human beings got through the hardest week in the American military because somebody taught them to count to 4. Except it is not only training, and this is where it gets uncomfortable. In the early 2000s, a Yale psychiatrist named Charles Morgan went to the Army's survival school at Fort Bragg. It runs mock captivity, real interrogation stress on volunteers under supervision. Morgan drew blood before and after. Special Forces soldiers released significantly more neuropeptide Y than everyone else under the same stress. Neuropeptide Y is, roughly, the brain's brake on the panic response. More of it meant better cognitive performance while being interrogated, less dissociation, clearer thinking. Morgan also found their cortisol response was different. The stress arrived and then it left, and more than 90% of the soldiers reported dissociative symptoms during that school. Time distortion, feeling outside their own body. Morgan published it in Biological Psychiatry in the American Journal of Psychiatry, starting in 2000. So some people are running better hardware. That is just true, because if some of it is biology, then a week that costs lives is selecting for something you were born with. And I have to tell you what happened in 2022, flatly, because it does not deserve a joke. On February 4th, 2022, a candidate named Kyle Mullen finished Hell Week with Class 352. He had made it. He was done with the week. He died hours later. He was 24. The cause was bacterial pneumonia. The Navy's own investigation, released the following year, found the medical monitoring after Hell Week was inadequate. It also found performance-enhancing drug use among candidates, and it found the thing that matters most for this video. Candidates were not reporting symptoms because reporting symptoms could end their training. The design that makes quitting the only exit also makes asking for help look like quitting. He was coughing up blood and he stayed standing. So that is the mechanism fully assembled, doing exactly what it was built to do. The question is what it is doing in your life, because it is not confined to a beach in California. Start with what the week is not. It is not a pain tolerance test. Pain tolerance is not what separates the ones who stay from the ones who go. It is not a fitness test. Every person standing there in hour 1 already passed the fitness test to get there. What Hell Week actually does is remove every reason to continue except the one you brought with you. No pay raise, no audience, no progress bar, no end date you can see from where you are standing. And then it puts a warm, legal, instant exit 40 feet away and mentions it out loud every hour for 132 hours. It is not measuring how much you can take. It is measuring how many times you can be offered a reasonable exit and not take it. Potterat's 4 skills are not superpowers. They are tools for making 1 hour feel like a complete unit. Segment it, rehearse it, narrate it, breathe through it. And the reason this generalizes is that the mechanism has nothing to do with the Navy. Any system where the exit is voluntary and the payoff is distant runs on the same physics. Graduate school, marriages, sobriety, learning an instrument as an adult. Nobody fails you out of those either. Draper Kaufman understood that from the inside because the Navy had handed him a reasonable exit in 1933. Bad eyes, nothing you can do. Go find another life. He did not take it. He went to a different country to get into the same war. In 1965, the United States Naval Academy made Draper Kaufman its superintendent. The institution that would not commission him put him in charge of it, glasses and all. Nobody at Coronado ever fails you. They just leave a bell where you can reach it. That is the whole technology. There is nothing else in it. You have to walk over. You have to lift your hand. You have to make it happen. That is not a loophole in the system. That is the system. Every institution that wants to select for persistence eventually rediscovers the same trick. Make the exit free and make the finish line invisible. Which brings me to the thing you stopped doing this year. The gym, the book, the language app, the business, the relationship you were working on. You did not quit because you are weak. You quit because you set a finish line you could not see. So every single morning was a fresh vote, and the exit was warm and legal and about 40 feet away. You voted the same way you always vote when the count is high enough. In 2006, Peter Gallwitzer and Pascal Sheeran pulled together 94 separate tests of one small intervention. Not motivation, not willpower, just deciding in advance exactly when and where you would do the thing. The effect was large, and it held across all 94. That is goal segmentation. It is the first item on Potterat's list. You have been running Hell Week badly your entire adult life. Every helmet in that line belonged to someone with a good reason. Every single one of them was thinking clearly when they walked over. Somewhere in that row there is a pair of thick round glasses that never got set down. So, back to the question. It is 3 in the morning. Nobody is holding you. Nobody will stop you. Nobody will call your family. The bell is 40 feet away. Ring it 3 times and this ends. Do you walk over? Not one of them was broken. Every one had done the arithmetic, and the arithmetic was correct. You already know the answer. You did it in April. Nobody stopped you. Nobody argued. Nobody wrote it down. There was no bell in your house, so you never heard the sound. That is the only difference between your line of helmets and theirs. You ring yours quietly, and you call it being realistic.